Hey girlies, welcome back to my channel. My name's Destiny. If you're new here, hey girl. And if you're not, nice to meet you. I hope you decide to stick around. We do a lot of colorful art in this family. As of right now, we're working on a lot of like vegetables. Previously it was flowers. Soon I want to get into more of like deep thought. I come up with a concept and paint it art. I generally only do that with acrylics, but I do want to get into it with gouache, but I've been doing a lot of practicing here lately. This is my favorite gouache. I will not use anything else. I used to have the Arteza acrylic gouache. I don't like it the same way that I like the Maya jelly gouache, and I could just be like tripping. I don't know. I'm sure there's better out there. I've been told that there's better out there, but this is my tried and true. I love her dearly. I have the big palette and the small one. But girl, if you look at my easel, you can see that I still have asparagus that has not been finished. And you know what? I just really haven't wanted to lately. It's just been, it stares at me all day. I have wanted to do something new, which is why you see me opening my sketchbook. So I'm going to be doing an entire spread. I haven't done a spread in a hot minute, not one that I actually like. And girl, I know you saw the thumbnail, so you know this one eats. It looks so good. I truly didn't think it would turn out looking this pretty. Thankfully it did. I'm really proud of it. Like, honestly, I like every individual piece. I think the grapes are definitely like my weak link, but you know, we got time to grow. Anyway, so what I ended up doing is creating a Pinterest page specifically just for inspiration for this spread. I've given myself a deadline of completing the sketchbook by October, and I know that sounds like a lot of time, but a month of that time I won't have any access to my art supplies. I always watch other artists on YouTube whenever I create like pretty much anything. It doesn't matter if I'm drawing or painting. And I discovered a new favorite. I have like a top 5, you know, and this person's being added to like at least number 3. Like, their art is so gorgeous and they're absolutely hilarious. Their voiceovers are the entire reason why I'm doing a voiceover now, because just being able to hear them make jokes and explain their art process and be like true to themselves, hearing their personality, made me so happy. I watched like 10 of their videos back to back, and like I said, their art's also gorgeous too, so it was very easy to watch. The video after this one, I think this one was called Watch Me Draw Trees or Draw Trees With Me, something like that. After this one, they did a vegetable one. Gorgeous. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm just gonna put it on the screen. I really don't want to butcher it. But yeah, if y'all need any artists to watch that are funny and make gorgeous art, they're the ones for you. So I've been trying to break shapes down into much simpler forms. I still haven't mastered it. Like, as you'll see throughout the sketches coming up, I had to speed it up to ×5 if I wanted to keep all the footage from it. But looking back at it now, I realized that I could have broken this down into like 4 separate ovals instead of just trying to do one big one and build off of it. The reference that I'm using has kind of like a off shape. I didn't end up going with it because I just could not figure out how to do it for the life of me. I truly don't know what the issue was, but I couldn't get it together. But I'm learning, slowly learning. I should probably also start looking up classes on YouTube, literally just so I can figure out how to do it properly, because me teaching myself, only gets me so far, and I honestly don't want to keep teaching myself bad habits. But I'm so stubborn because those YouTube classes are just so unbelievably fucking boring. But I have to get over that if I want to get better and if I want to be an artist that works smarter, not harder. A really good example of this is I got a comment on my last video of somebody giving advice to use brushes that fit the size of the project that I'm doing, because I consistently use really tiny brushes for jobs that don't need it. And like, I love those fine brushes, but they're only really needed for tiny details. That's their whole purpose. When I'm filling out a whole page, or if I'm doing something large like this pear, I don't need the tiniest lined, the tiniest little brush. It's just not necessary. So even that in itself, that one comment that seems like it would be common sense and I wouldn't have to think about it, it would just be automatic, it was not common sense for me. So I really do appreciate her for giving me that advice. Girl, I'm trying. It's going well so far, because like, I'll add a whole bunch of detail in the beginning and the middle of the painting, and then I end up covering it up because I don't like it. So why not save that detail for the absolute end? And that's what I'm trying to do now and start incorporating a little bit more. So thank you. I really appreciate you, girl. I was so excited about starting this painting just from seeing like the color palette from the inspiration picture, knowing how many different like tones I could use, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to lean more on the dark side, like more reddish, or if I wanted to lean more on the pink. Ultimately, I ended up deciding on using 2 base colors, mixing them together with like yellows and whites to get different tones. That's generally my favorite way to do art, honestly. I like to have maybe 2 or 3 base colors and then make a whole bunch of different tones out of them. And my goal is always to get it to look cohesive, but still colorful and have some type of depth. And I think I accomplished it with this one. I'm very proud of it. This one and the one that's coming next, I think those are my 2 favorites out of the entire piece. There's absolutely no way that you can look at these colors and not say they're absolutely stunning. I truly feel like everything complements each other well. The composition could be a little bit better regarding the, the pear and the blueberry. I feel like I probably should have put something in between, or maybe did 3 or 5 blueberries, or have like a little table there and have something fall off. Like, there's always going to be a revision. Like the bottom of the pear on the left hand side of the little brown piece, I don't even know what you'd call that, it's still a little messed up, and I left it alone, but I think it still looks nice. I like how the colors contrast against each other, how there's the bright yellow in the middle and it's a little bit darker on the left. I am trying to figure out how to do composition regarding like light, like if the light's coming from the right side, how would that reflect? Still haven't watched a video on that either, and I know that's on me, and eventually I will, but this was my way to at least attempt it. As you can see, I did bust out the mini brush. I love a mini brush. It gives you so much control. Listen, and these are the situations where I actually need to use them, not to fill an entire piece of paper. Anyway, this is the inspiration for the next thing. It's going to be like a darker, rich peach. Also, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I pulled out my palette in between each individual painting just because I have a really bad habit of putting just a copious amount of paint on my palette, and I put colors on there that I don't end up using during that session, and then ultimately I end up washing all of that gouache off of my palette, and it's just a waste of paint when I could go one by one, and when I need the colors, add them. So that's exactly what I'm doing for this painting. Now, y'all don't see it because obviously I edited it out. I didn't want y'all to have to sit there and watch like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. That's actually a gross underestimation. Probably like 2 to 3 minutes of me just staring at the paper trying to figure out, should I start with lights and then build up to darks, or start with darks and then build the lights around it and try to blend it that way. As you can see, I started with the darks. I know it's not as opaque as it could be. I didn't want to go too crazy, and it comes directly out of the gouache palette like that. Like, that's not a mixed color. And it's so fucking gorgeous. I think this is honestly my favorite color in the palette. I consistently go back to it. But now I'm hitting the point of trying to figure out, like, how am I going to make this pit look 3D? How am I going to get these colors as opaque as I want them? What am I going to have to mix to make this darker? Because I want to use this color to be the skin for the peach. You can see I'm having a little bit of struggle getting these shades to blend well. I was trying to use the same method that I used on the pear. I was using the gouache more as watercolor. I had the page extremely soaking wet. The paint was really diluted, so it mixed easily together. But with this, I was making it a lot more opaque. The paper wasn't really wet at all. So I had to switch over to trying to color match it together and get the tones to look correct. It didn't end up working out exactly how I wanted it to be, because the goal was for it to be completely smooth. But right now it's like stairs. You can see the defined areas where I put different shades on there, and that definitely wasn't the goal. But what did work out was I put the dark lines, the dark red lines, under the skin portion that I just painted, and then put a unifying lighter color on top to blend it together well. And I actually do think that looks way more seamless than the peach on the left side. Honestly, didn't know if it would work out. Generally, I'll do a light color on the bottom and then put dark colors on top, but I never end up liking how it looks just because it's a whole bunch of different shades. And if I'm kind of going for realism, which I was in this situation, I wanted it to look a little bit more on the real side and not as cartoonish. It worked out well. Now, my next issue is trying to figure out how to blend the pulp and make it look unified, but at the same time kind of make it look 3D. That was definitely the goal. Like, I don't want the flesh of the peach to blend in with the pulp. I want the pulp to look like it's poking out of the peach. In retrospect, I probably should have added a little bit more shadow directly in the middle, and then had the top right hand side being a little bit brighter so you can see that the light's coming from that way, so then it would give more of the illusion. I don't think I ended up doing that, but I guess we'll see. After painting, I rarely remember how the process went. So I honestly got scared that I was going to leave it looking like that. Thankfully, I came through, blended everything together so it doesn't look like those stairs anymore. It's not as seamless as I want it to be, but it's definitely much better than how it looked before. Now we're moving on to the fun part. This is just all the little fillers. So I'm just gonna leave y'all, let y'all listen to music, and I'll see you again once it comes time to show the hiking stuff. So pretty. The rock's so big. Like these are they're
your Christmas tree.